To discover the root of evil in this world, you can say follow the money and you'll most likely find the source of evil. But you can also ask this question: who does not want us to have clean, safe, and self-sustaining energy that provides us with an unlimited amount of power? The oil, gas, coal, and other fossil fuel preserves are worth $200 trillion. The Rockefeller oil empire started in 1870 by John D. Rockefeller and became America's first billionaire. The Rockefellers now control our food market as well. They started the agricultural green movement, which was meant to end world hunger and promote health. The movement required oil-based fertilizers and pesticides, which made a substantial profit for the Rockefeller oil companies. But records now show that the intention of their movement was unsuccessful. Who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls the energy can control the whole continent. Who controls the money can control the whole world. This is a quote by Henry Kissinger in 1973. Energy, education, food, military, politics, medicine, and media are controlled by elite, internationalist banksters and their corporations. The Rockefellers created the National Education Association. The purpose of our education system was to create an obedient and docile workforce who would be manageable employees and eager consumers. Schools also created fixed habits in response to authority. The American Medical Association is largely funded by the Rockefellers, and they use their funds to influence research and decision-making. In the name of profits, the prescription drugs perpetuate the symptoms instead of relieving them. They suppress cures for diseases due to the loss of profits that would occur. They discovered the cure for cancer. It's cannabis oil. All you do is grow a female cannabis plant, and once it is mature, you fill up a 5-gallon bucket halfway with alcoholic synthesizer, and then you let it break down the cannabis plant. You then boil out the alcoholic synthesizer, and then you let it cool down. Then you have a paste, known as cannabis oil, which can cure most cancers in any phase of growth. The case of Dr. Raymond Rife, he invented the most advanced microscopes of his time. He also developed a technique called coordinative resonance, which can destroy tumor cells. His device was tested on 16 cancer patients, and within 3 months, all cancer patients were cured. Shortly after this event, his lab was burned down, and a lawsuit filed against him. The lawsuit was led by Warren Fishbein, head of the American Medical Association. The World Bank of the UN controls us all by providing a monetary system to the societies around the world through the capital bank system, and they can buy out all competing companies or patents. They eventually gain ultimate influence through bought-off politics and media. Above the authoritative power of people is government, who provides an endless amount of force through military and law enforcement, and they use that force to tax and control us without our approval. Corporations and non-nation states control the actions of the government because they are the interests of the government. This term is referred to us as corporatocracy. To control the resources and markets and to suppress the power of the people. The internationalist banksters put in their monetary systems so they can have the power to purchase anything that is needed for their agenda of world domination. The other perk they receive from the system is that it enslaves the people through taxes and debt. It is well enough that the people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. This is a quote by Henry Ford in 1922. We are technically debt slaves to the ruling class of financial elites. That is what the banking and monetary system does to us. In 1910, the Rockefellers, Morgans, and Rothschilds secretly met at Jekyll Island to secretly draft the legislation that would create the Federal Reserve, the capital bank of the United States. The Federal Reserve was established in 1913, and the Internal Revenue Services was also established in that year. Central banks are banking cartels that go into partnerships with governments, and they get power of the nation's money supply, and in return the government and politicians get unlimited money, and then the people get taxed to cover the deficit. A percentage of that tax is sent to the UN as a form of commission for providing our society with a monetary system. They also collect a commission from our IRS and Social Security network. At this point, it seems like our Revolutionary War against the British was a lost cause. The Federal Reserve is a privately owned central bank, disguised as a government-owned system. The Federal Reserve is an independent agency, which means no other agency of the government can overrule the actions of the Federal Reserve. This was a statement made by the former chairman of the Federal Reserve. Give me control of the nation's currency, and I care not who makes the laws. This is a quote by Baron Mayer Amschel Rothschild. And keep in mind that the Rothschild family owns the World Bank. The influence of the banksters dictate the norms and status quos of society. What's right and wrong, moral and immoral, good and bad, sane and insane, possible and impossible. Members of the T. Town and Brown and the Beefield-Brown effect was a research team that discovered a new source of energy and a new type of generator and engine design that does not require the use of oil, coal, or the combustion engine, along with transmission lines for electricity. The source of energy is called the quantum flux field. It is an extractable energy field that is found in the fabric of space that surrounds us in everyday life. Every single cubic centimeter of space in just a single room has enough energy to power the world for a single day. The generators that were invented to extract this energy are called flux liners. This energy was discovered in the mid-1950s. The people who discovered the quantum flux field and created the flux liners knew that this would be the end of the oil cartels, the international financial petrodollar system, and the banksters would have to change their whole way of operating. The banksters dominate the global economy of 7 billion people, and they don't want to lose power or influence of the global economy. The World Bank scheme uses money as control for geopolitical power and influence. The World Bank is a transnational government that controls the financial system and resources of the country it inhabits. This is a monolithic, illegal, and rogue group. Once these people have committed so many lies, threats, and murders, and have lied to so many people in Congress and presidents, there is no way at this point in your agenda to prove to anyone that your agenda has any good intentions for anyone in the human race except for the greed of you and your family. Scientists as far back as the early 1900s have been researching to find technology that provides energy without combustion. Nikola Tesla tapped into a radiant energy source that would provide wireless energy. Many scientists believe that he was accessing and developing free energy devices. His financer was John Pierpont Morgan. He had a monopoly in copper, which was used for the electrical wires. Morgan discovered Tesla's inventions could put his copper industry out of business. So Morgan cut off his financing to Tesla. Then his lab was burned down, and then Tesla was ostracized. There are many other similar cases like this. For instance, Adam Trombley is a modern-day inventor that created a generator that could also extract energy out of the quantum flux field. The generator would mimic the magnetic field of our world, so this would give motion and friction to the generator, and then it would be able to harvest the energy out of thin air. Trombley demonstrated this product in front of the UN and US Senate. It was undermined by the first Bush administration. Then the device itself was taken in a government raid. John Bedini is also a New Age inventor and began experimenting with Tesla's theories of radiant energy. He created battery charging devices that would create more energy than needed to run and which made it self-sufficient. And no combustion was required. Once the generators were proven sufficient, he was going to sell them at low cost. A few days later, he was attacked in his lab and received death threats. For the sake of his life, he had to abandon his career in research. John Hutchison created self-sufficient, clean-burning batteries that could last for generations. He also evolutionized Tesla's theories of anti-gravity. He created devices that could make objects float. His labs were raided in 1978, 1989, and 2000. All devices were destroyed or taken by police or government officials. Eugene Malov is a scientist and publisher. He owned a magazine called Infinite Energy. He informed people of the free energy movement and kept people up to date with new free energy devices and other advancements in the field. He was mysteriously beaten to death in 2004. Quite simply put, these devices could change geopolitical power and influence forever and bring prosperity and clean burning power to everyone in the whole entire world. Now that you know where the root of evil originates from, it is time to act. Go to my Facebook page by typing in facebook.com/ and then put these letters in. TJBMF. My first post will say, "It is time to abolish the U.S. government in order to institute a new constitutional government that will stand by and protect our rights." Click the like button, and that will count as a signature. And once we get half of this country's signatures, we'll be able to overthrow the government.